All You Need to Know, the Bloomberg Quint podcast that prepares you for the day's business. Good morning. We've hit midweek. Here's everything that you need to know at the start of your day so that you can stay ahead of the curve. I'm Alex Matthew and this is the All You Need to Know podcast. Today is the 11th of December. In the top news, Yes Bank's board has said that it's willing to favorably consider the $500 million offer from Citex Holdings and Citex Investment Group. The board will decide on the final allocation of equity stake at its next meeting. Meanwhile, a $1.2 billion binding offer from Canada's Irwin Singh Bryk and SPGP Holdings is still under discussion, but there's no clarity about whether it will approve the offer. Remember, Bloomberg had reported yesterday that the bank's board is set to reject that offer. Creditors of Jet Airways India have agreed to extend the deadline for submission of a resolution plan for the grounded Indian Airlines 14,600 crore rupees of debt, as the sole bidder for the company is hesitating to make a binding offer. The deadline for submission of a resolution plan for the carrier may be extended beyond the 16th of December, as Synergy Group will not make a binding offer for Jet Airways till it gets clarity from the government about the validity of the airline's now defunct flying slots. 12 state-owned Indian banks are petitioning for ex-billionaire Vijay Mallya to be declared bankrupt over £1.15 billion or $1.5 billion in unpaid debt. The banks and asset reconstruction company led by State Bank of India have taken the tycoon to a London court in what lawyers have described as the end of the road in their long-running battle. The bank's lawyers told the court yesterday that Mallya hadn't paid anything towards the debt. This comes as Mallya faces extradition to India to face charges of fraud. He was granted permission to appeal the decision, which will be heard in February. Back home, Flipkart has invested close to 600 crore rupees in its digital payments arm PhonePe, providing much-needed firepower against rivals Google Pay, Paytm and Amazon Pay. The funding also comes amid reports that Flipkart owner Walmart is looking to hive off PhonePe into a separate entity, a move that could help the payments firm raise funds independently. The Supreme Court here in India has ruled that Google isn't liable for defamatory content posted on its platforms after 2009. The verdict, which reiterates a 2015 ruling, comes as a relief for social media companies, online retailers and service providers who are facing increased pressure from the Indian government to regulate online content. In international news, the idea that the US will delay tariff increases on China due to kick in on Sunday seems to be the prevailing consensus. Yesterday, and we told you about this, Agriculture Secretary Sonny Perdue said that the US is unlikely to impose the extra tariffs on $160 billion of Chinese goods. Now, Chinese officials are expecting a similar outcome, anticipating that President Donald Trump will delay the threatened increase, giving more time to negotiate an interim trade deal that both sides continue to insist is close to fruition. Meanwhile, all eyes will turn today to the Federal Reserve in the US. Fed Chair Jerome Powell and his colleagues are expected to leave interest rates unchanged after cutting them at 3 consecutive meetings. And they're keeping their fingers crossed that Trump will decide not to follow through on his threat to impose more tariffs on Chinese imports on the 15th of December. In international markets, U.S. equities ended marginally in the red, with the 3 averages losing about 0.1%. 2 of the 3 early rises in Asia have also started the same way. But having fallen sharply yesterday, India's equity markets may just buck the trend. Agam Vakil is here to tell you all about that. Good morning, Agam. How are we looking today?
Good morning, Alex, and good morning, listeners. Well, the Asian markets at this point in time are trending rather flat, and we don't have too much going for the SGX Nifty futures either. Hence, we're expecting another quiet opening. But let's start talking about stocks. And right at the top, we have Yes Bank, which is in focus. Do remember it had its board meeting with respect to raising funds yesterday, and there hasn't really been as much of an outcome from the board meeting. What has emerged is that the bank is willing to consider an offer of $500 million from Cytax Holdings, and that the $1.2 billion binding offer from Irwin Bridge and SPGP is still under discussion. The bank will take a final decision on the Cytax offer in the next meeting. Moving on to Reliance Industries, we have ADNOC and the company which have signed an agreement to explore the development of ethylene dichloride facility in Revise. Bharti Airtel is also in focus as it seeks shareholders' nod to raise capital via QIP and FCCBs along with NCDs on January 3rd. IDBI Bank's board has given an in-principle approval to sell stake in IDBI Capital Market Securities and IDBI Intech to the extent of 49%. Moving on, we also have Piramal Enterprises in focus, where the CCI has approved the subscription of CCDs of the company by the CDPQ. And in terms of key bulk deals, Malabar India Fund has acquired 0.7% stake in Safari Industries at 560 rupees per share, where promoter Sudhir Jatia has sold 0.8% stake at the same rate. And in another bulk deal, we also have V-Guard Industries in focus, where its promoter Thomas Chitilapilli, who has sold 1.2% stake at 215 rupees per share. Now, these are just some of the stocks that you can watch out for as you move into trade today, but don't forget to go through our morning edition of All You Need to Know only on BloombergQuint.com.
Thanks, Agam. Well, that's all we have for you on this podcast, but as always, there's a lot more on the website BloombergQuint.com, so don't forget to check it out. This is Alex Matthews signing off. Have a great day.
I hope you enjoyed listening to All You Need to Know. Did you know that you could listen to the show on the IVM Podcast app? On the IVM Podcast app, along with this, we have a number of other shows which you think you'll enjoy. Listen to Cyrus Says with Cyrus Brocha as the host. Listen to Paisa Vaisa with Anupam Gupta. The Scene and the Unseen with Amit Verma, or Shunya One hosted by Shiladitya Mukhopadhyay and myself. Check out the IVM Podcast app to get more talk content that you will enjoy.